And we are back.
We're back.
Season 2, DX3 Podcast Radio. Very excited and happy that we're finally catching up. We got things to talk about.
Well, we do. And the reason we were off so long is because Kathy's got a drinking problem and she just wouldn't stop partying. She wouldn't let summer end.
You know what? I really just needed to make the best of it. There was, it's been a stressful year with COVID and, single girl's got to do what she's got to do.
And she been doing, folks. She been doing.
What?
I didn't say what you've been doing.
Well, actually, we did go on Dave's podcast, of course.
We did. Yes.
Yes,
we did. Dave. We miss you.
We had so much fun. We definitely need a driver for the next one.
Oh,
because it's fun. But yeah, we've had some stuff aside from my drinking issues. There's been
as I'm wearing the rosé sweatshirt.
Yeah, I seriously question. And I'm drinking coffee right now. Okay, so
I know I'm not even drinking anything. I woke up the other day and I had like a plugged ear, so I feel like there's a little infection going on. Maybe not. It's staying idle. Went to the walk-in clinic yesterday and I walk in and they're like, oh, sorry, the walk-in clinic on Mondays is only call-in, like talk to the doctor. It's like, well, that ain't helping.
Yeah, that's not.
I need some drugs. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll go back today.
Good luck. Good luck with that. I hope you're feeling. But there were other things that were happening as well over the summer. Mm-hmm. And, I think for both of us, having children to entertain, it's definitely been different with COVID. Weren't sending them off to the camps and giving them different activities in that way. So I really felt like it was busy this summer as far as, keeping them entertained.
Well, this has been going on since the beginning of COVID. I've been a goddamn teacher since the beginning of the year.
I know. You've been really, really good at it though. Like, honestly.
Thank you.
It was grade 2 last year, in the beginning of COVID through March.
We were in grade 2. We were doing patterns. We were building volcanoes out of homemade flour and water, like making our own dough. Well, that was my science class because I had my own science classes. We were making fireworks inside glass mason jars with food coloring. We were doing sports. We were doing it all.
I know, you're amazing. I wanted you over here to take care of my children because I'm telling you, that was not happening in this house.
Well, I had to do it sober. And so I couldn't drink and teach.
Right. Well, you're at home, but nevertheless, I was very impressed. Yeah, you had some solid projects happening.
We did. One involved a slip and slide. That was fun. Almost broke my neck.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Beware. Yes, I did not have willing children as far as wanting to really get into the school thing. It was painful. And that is why this September they were signed to go back to school.
But they're also older though too than our little ones.
Well, my son's 11 and I was hoping that I could help him and get him excited about doing, but no. He was not excited about doing school at home. That was actually the other reason why I made a point of sending him back, because if he had stayed home, there just would have been a lot of PS4 and Netflix and play,
punishments.
They were both of my daughters just turned 17, but both of my kids were very pissed off that they found out that I had signed them to go back to school.
That's hilarious.
Like, adios.
Yeah. Mama's willing to take the risk.
On more seriously though, for me, honestly, it was a mental health thing. Like they really
For
needed
sure.
to be, I know it's not ideal, and I know especially my daughter in high school, I mean, it's pretty limited access to people in high school, but my son, different, you know, being 11 in grade 6, he definitely needed that structure, I think, and just, you know, being
Oh,
around
yeah.
the kids. So there were two reasons for why they went back: my sanity and theirs as well, you know. So
Agreed. Our little one went back as well, and he actually started a new school. The nice thing about that was his 3 best friends were all new. So it's like all the newbies sort of, came up with their little gang. And so that worked out really well because we were a little nervous. I would say Dave's probably a little bit more COVID cuckoo than I am.
Sure.
Just because he watches the news like 24/7 and should probably be employed by like CNN or Fox. But yeah, no, it's definitely good. I mean, they're all wearing their little masks. They're all using their little hand sanitizers. I mean, what are we going to do? Incubate everyone from the world, whatever.
Right.
So
right. No, and I mean, I don't know about Marcus's school, but I know for Ethan, like they don't, knock on wood, have any cases at the public school.
Yeah, no,
there's only been 1 case in my daughter's high school so far, and hopefully things will be okay.
Yeah, I think where we are, because we're in such a small, like little village, it's like I literally walk into stores sometimes. Like I literally walked into the grocery store last week just like this, and then I was like, oh shit. And then I like felt like an idiot, walked back to my car, but no one said anything, but maybe they just thought I was like one of those people who had like a medical condition and can't wear a mask.
Oh, right.
Because they are there. So I guess I'd have to be like, oh, sorry, sir, I cannot wear a mask. No, I don't know. Like, I
had the same thing happen. I ran into a coffee shop and just clueless, just didn't think, running in. It wasn't a drive-through, so I run in. And same thing, I forget, and everyone's looking at me, and I'm like walking in, and I'm like, why is everyone looking at me? Like, what's the big deal? Like, what's going on? I know it's early. Like, is there something, you know? And then the lady at the counter, she's like, what? And I'm like, oh, sorry. That's why everyone was looking.
Oh, I've done it a few times. Just not that I'd like, obviously, like, I think it's important because maybe not for me, but like, yes, maybe I could spread germs to someone who has a compromised immune system. So I do like, of course, respect all that, but just sometimes I'm really friggin' busy and I just forgot. Anyway, I got a lot of stuff going on. So I forgot. So if you see me running around the streets without my mask, be gentle.
Yeah, she's just lost it a little.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're in support. We do that in our communities. We're wearing masks and we're being careful, and that's all we can do. And fingers crossed, you know, that everything will kind of level out someday soon.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So also, the other reason why we were also taking a break too is that you had some stuff going on with your mom, and you had touched on it a little bit. I know when we were talking about it before.
Yeah.
And so you can give us an update on what's going on with your mom.
So as I mentioned in season 1, my mom was diagnosed with dementia, vascular dementia, something that doesn't typically run in our family. As far as I know, on both sides, no one's ever had dementia. I mean, we have a huge family, so I don't know if anyone's watching. Maybe you can tell me, because I think I have like 1,000 cousins. But anyway, no, really, they actually make up like small towns in Manitoba.
That's impressive.
But, yeah, it's crazy. My mom comes from like a family, I think, of like 20 kids, so they were busy.
Right. We've talked about that. That blows my mind.
I'm telling you, like, where was TLC back in the day, man? We should be reaping those benefits. Maybe they'll just give me a reality show and I can talk about, like, you know, anyway. Long story. All they have to do is like take a little snippet of my Baba's obituary, like locked and loaded, and the deal is sealed. Like, they will sign us. Because the family size is insane in the membrane. Anyway.
What happened?
Maybe there's an earthquake here in west of the 401.
Yeah, really.
Somebody got excited. I don't know. That was kind of freaky. Let me make sure my foundation, I'm not like in a sinkhole here. Holy shit. Really weird.
You just drop. Oh my God. And we're not even drinking. Oh.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? So anyway, I think this table's like, I don't know. I gotta get Dave to check the legs on this thing because something ain't right. Okay.
Okay.
I might just put my cell phone under the little corner here just to get a little bit more stability. Okay, so where was I? Yeah.
You were talking about, you didn't know if it ran in your family, but your mom has it.
Right. So luck of the draw, unfortunately, she got it, which completely sucks. She's a very, very, very young senior citizen. She doesn't identify as a senior citizen. So lo and behold, things are declining. Things aren't, they just aren't the way they were.
Right.
Growing up, my mom's background is Ukrainian, so she grew up making all those wonderful Ukrainian treats, cabbage rolls, pierogies, all these different, schnitzels and baking, and you'd get her to make it and she would just stand there and she was making it to a point all her life where she didn't obviously have to reference a cookbook. It was all up here. And
right.
She just couldn't do it. And that was really telling, and it just got to a point.
Is that something that you noticed? Is like in the beginning of things, something like that, like just her not remembering things like that?
It literally started. My sister went over one day to do pierogies because typically what we'll do is make big batches and freeze. Right. Typically they're not done all year round, but before like Easter's or Thanksgiving or Christmases, and she'll make it and then she'll distribute to me, my sisters as well. And my one sister went over and was like, Mom does not remember. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's a simple recipe. And she just kind of stood there. So that was sort of like one of the first experiences like with food, I guess. And then things just really declined. She could no longer cook. So it got to a point where my sisters and I were making fresh meals, storing them in the fridge, putting them in the freezer. It got to the point where she was leaving the stove on, doors unlocked.
Yeah.
And the most scary was messing up her medication.
Right. Yeah.
And then she started losing a lot of weight, which was sort of a side effect with the medication, but then her eating habits, she got really, really weird with food. So she dropped a significant amount of weight. And I'm not going to lie, she looked great. She looks great. She was never like super overweight, but she lost weight and she looks good. But probably not the best way because she's just not eating. And then it turned into burying food and hiding it in the backyard because she didn't want us to question. She doesn't like being questioned about food. So it just got very, very weird and just not remembering. She thinks I still live at the house. She cannot remember how my father died. And I don't even think she remembers I have a late husband. So we had a very stressful and busy summer because she's in denial and she's trying to cover up her mistakes. And it got to a point where she's just like, it just got really bad. And then obviously with the pandemic, my sisters and I really had to make a decision because it was consuming us emotionally and, mentally, emotionally, and physically, really taking away from our quality of life because we were putting so much time and effort driving there. I live almost an hour away. My other sister lives almost an hour away. And my sister who lives down the street works in the hospital. She's a nurse. So it was pretty busy. We had to be very careful. So we said, we need to get her somewhere safe. Yeah. ASAP. So my mother, after losing my dad, my mom was widowed in her 40s. And so she's been a very independent woman. And the house she lives in now was the house that she had bought for her and I after we had lost him. And so for her to have to leave that house was very hard on her ego. And so we had to very gently look at places. And finally, we found a beautiful place. She was very scared to go. She was very negative about it and very sad. And then the moving day, she was happy. And then she had to do the 2 weeks of quarantine. And that was a goddamn roller coaster. Like 1 day happy, or sorry, 1 hour happy, 1 hour pissed, 1 hour crying. My mom, I've seen her cry twice in my life, at her husband's and my husband's funeral. So to have her on the phone constantly crying over like the whole summer and even more now in this retirement place, it's tough. And don't get me wrong, this woman's in a luxury retirement place. It is beautiful. It is the best. It's the best money.
She's living large.
Yeah, and the only reason I'm saying that is because we want her to have the best quality of life while she can enjoy it. Because as she declines, things are going to change. So for now, we wanted to give her the best of the best, because moving from a home to a condo was so foreign to her. And so we were like, we got to get her the biggest, the nicest building that doesn't seem like a retirement community, right? But retirement community and nursing homes are two different things. So she's in a retirement community.
They are.
And I'll tell you, I would move there. It is amazing. So
we've talked about this, you know, I don't know, these older people that are like, oh no, I'm never going in a home. Have you seen them? I'd move in one right now. Okay.
Oh yeah.
The food, cleaning, just like, it's basically living in a hotel. I'd love it.
Amazing. They have a concierge. They have a Lincoln Town Car service at their beck and call. Chefs cooking gourmet meals. Like, she's homemade quiches delivered, or at the, I'm like, okay, woman, suck it up. This is a good thing. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to worry about like taking out the trash and recycling and cooking and shoveling in the winter. You know, she doesn't have to worry about her gardens and all this stuff, which I know she likes. And, you know, once the months get better, we'll give her planters and little things that she can take care of on her balcony. It's like, you know, when, I mean, her building is pet friendly. So for now I have the dog, which is actually my dog she stole. So now I have him back. During the
quarantine, you stole him back?
Yeah. And so, yeah, so I'm kind of happy he's here because he was my dog first. She just took him and stole him. Well,
I know. I know.
You know, whatever. Anyway, but she can have him back. The only thing is I don't think she's going to be able to take care of him. It's going to be too hard. Like, she doesn't even know how to use an elevator. She doesn't even know how to get to the restaurant. So it's been a very, very, very exhausting summer with that. We also have someone very, very near and dear to us who is struggling with mental health and addictions. And the week that my mother went into the retirement facility, this individual actually checked themselves in finally for the first time into a rehabilitation. So we have had a lot of stuff going on, and I don't want to get too much into that, but it's been a really emotionally difficult summer for me. So I was just stretched out so thin. And, you know, even, you know, nothing's perfect. Obviously, even though these people are both in safe places, you still have worries for separate situations. I mean, I feel guilt because, and my sisters do too, because my mom so badly wants to go home, but she can't. She'll get, we don't want to wait till something bad happens.
There you are. You froze. You froze.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know. I was just saying, we don't want anything bad to happen, or we don't want to wait for something really bad to happen. So we had to act now. And with COVID, it was so hard because in the beginning of COVID, we couldn't visit, we couldn't do stuff. We were dropping off meals, like wrapped up, like, you know, in like hazmat suits, it felt like, at her front door.
I know. I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
She was lonely. She was devastated because she's social. So at least in her little community, what we're trying to get her to understand, which is hard for her because of the dementia, is you're in lockdown, but you got your peeps in the building. So it may come to a point where, you know, we're only allowed to go, only two of us, there's three girls. My mom has three daughters, and only two of us are allowed to visit. So we had to basically say, my sister who works in the hospital is like, okay, well, it's not going to be me because I have exposure to more things. So it's me and my oldest sister that are going in, and we're only allowed in, like, you know, a couple times a week, which is, you know, it's fine because the whole purpose of her going in this community, we don't want her just dependent on us like she has been, her to socialize. So even though we can go in 3 times a week, I'm like, we need to back it up because she needs to not be so dependent, waiting, focused on us coming on those days.
You're right. You're totally right.
So it's there's a lot going on, and it's, you know, even though she's there, it's going to take a while to wean her off a bit and have her socialize, because she's so used to, you know, her routine, and especially with dementia, when you change it, it kind of rocks their world a bit. So now she's kind of figuring everything else. So yeah, so summer was, you know, doing that and getting to the cottage as often as I could, just for my own sanity.
Yeah, no, I understand.
You know,
I went to your cottage multiple times for my own sanity as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Those were just a couple near-death weekends. Nothing major.
Nothing major. Hey, you may leave more tired, less brain cells, but it's worth it.
I don't know if I told this. I may have mentioned it in the past, but I'm just going to remind people. The first time I went to your cottage last year, we drove in my car, and I'm pretty sure it was the first time. Maybe it was the second, but you had to drive my vehicle back, and I was basically in the fetal position at death's door, being taken home from the island. Thank you. Thank you.
I actually tied her by her ankles, and I just like towed her on her back down the 400.
Down the 400. Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Couldn't even have her in the car.
It was not this past summer, the summer before. That was the first time I went, but yeah, thanks for that.
No problem.
You know what? Go hard or go home. That's what we do.
Don't visit if you're not. You're not welcome.
I'm always welcome.
Unless you're pregnant.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Or on medication that says you can't drink, even that.
Yeah.
I think that's a poor
Stay
excuse,
home.
whatever. And if you're on your deathbed, well, why not?
Yeah, really.
Well, yeah, there's some exceptions. Listen, I'm sure my mom drank with me, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
You had a lot.
Isn't it crazy? So like born in the 70s, like my mom was never a smoker, bless her heart, but
yeah, mine either.
Yeah, you know, women walking around smoking cigarettes, no seatbelts.
Oh my God, I remember coming home.
How did we live?
I don't know. I remember coming home and it felt like I was walking through a goddamn fog machine. My father with the DeMauriers.
Yeah. Right?
God bless your soul, Frank, but I tell you, if he was alive today, we'd be having words.
Right? Yeah. Not good. Not good. So also this summer at the cottage, you put me on a dating app.
Yeah, I was bored.
Yeah. So thanks so much for that. So my brother-in-law got me on one because he said, try this one. You know, he had heard some people at his work thought it was all right. It was okay. It wasn't really too lively, but it was okay. Yeah. Then I tell Michelle this, and of course she decides that she's going to put me on a new app, and she was going to fill out all my information, and it was off to the races. Boys started messaging. She was having lovely conversations with them. It was great.
I was Kathy. So like, who was some of the guys, like Snowball 69? That was me.
So that definitely kicked things up to a new level because, you know, I haven't been, listen, I've been single for a year and a half. I've been out there.
That's because I haven't been managing your profiles.
But when you started managing my profile, it's like the wild, wild west. Like
fire, the forest fire.
That is my analogy. Okay. So I've turned 49. I cannot believe that I'm online dating. But what else are you going to do if you want to meet new people? It's, you know, it's interesting.
It is. And so why don't we tell people my theory of why I think you're getting more hits? I think it's the tagline I made for you.
Oh, I changed that. I put on another one. Yeah, I know.
Okay,
but that's okay.
Okay, hold on. Let's do a little, okay, what is it now?
Go hard or go home. You had me running with scissors. So
yeah, I run with scissors. And then some asshole who actually I'm pissed off about because I came up with I run with scissors. I thought it was funny. I had a lot of feedback as Kathy. Okay. And one asshole who looks like he's been single all his life and probably still a senior virgin had something to say about, you work in media? Is that all you can come up with? With scissors, not very intelligent.
Rude.
You know what? What was his name? Anyway, he was
I don't remember.
he was a loser. So I don't care if that's bullying right now, but he was a real prick.
Michelle's a little sensitive about her creative process, as we can all see. Don't question her slogans.
I am an artist of slogans and wittiness.
You are.
So when a guy who looks like, a wiener on a bun comes back at me like that.
Right?
He'd be lucky I don't find him.
Yeah, exactly. It was, it's been pretty funny, but you know what? Very enjoyable. It's been an enjoyable process.
This is a process of life. You have to put yourself out to the wolves and you need to see what is going to happen. And there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. And I don't know, for some reason, there's just a lot of weirdos out there. But what I said to Kathy was, you know what, you might meet someone, you might kind of like them and they might disappear or ghost you, and it happens. It happened to me, it happens to everybody I know. And, but one thing Kathy did get offered, which I never did, so clearly you're a better woman than I, was getting a goat on a farm.
That's right. A nice older gentleman lived on a hobby farm. He messaged me, thought that I would be very happy living with him on his hobby farm. And then he sent an additional message telling me that he was prepared to buy me a goat and name him Billy.
Was this a real profile? Picture, and it's a little questionable. I feel
he's older, and he looked like he was very like hippie, almost like kind of
like Willie Nelson.
No, not that old, but
they shared the same style.
Longer hair, I guess maybe. I don't fully remember. I just remember that it was hilarious.
What I've been telling Kathy is she has to stop going for the same type of guy because clearly it hasn't worked in the past. So I have said, expand your horizons and, maybe give this guy a chance. No, we're good. It was very nice, but yes, I think he was generous and kind, and he likes animals apparently.
Yes, definitely. But
I wonder what his hobby farm was about. Probably like dismembering bodies.
Okay, stop.
I'm
really
just saying.
Gross.
Well,
what else? There's been other, of course, a lot of dirty messages. Those are pretty common.
How many DPs have you gotten?
Only one.
Oh yeah. So DP, for those who don't know, is a dick pic.
Yeah, only one. And that arrived after my first date. The first actual date I went on was a lunch date. It was nice. He was polite. He was easy enough to talk to, whatever. And then afterwards he messaged me and said, "Hey, it was really nice meeting you." And I'm like, "Yeah, you too." And then I didn't hear from him for 5 days. And then all of a sudden there was a message from him. I'm like, "Oh, there he is." And I open it and boom.
Bam. Why do you do that?
There he is in all his glory.
Why do men? Someone answer us. Can people email us, please, at like DX3podcastradio@gmail.com or slide into our DMs. Men, please, why? Why do you go on dates with women, then you ghost, and then you send a DP? I do not understand. This has been happening since like I was online dating the first time in my 20s. I'm in my 40s now. I don't get it. And like 20 years and it's still happening. Somebody tell me, why does this happen?
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
I don't get it. Like,
here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm definitely learning though, Michelle. Women and men are so fucking different, you know?
100%.
Like how I am communicating and how I'm reading things is clearly not how they are. And it would just be really nice if they would maybe talk instead of just show, you know? Like
100%.
Could we get some lead up to what that was all about, you know?
But clearly those aren't the people. Like there are people there that are like, oh, I want a relationship. And then clearly they don't. Because if you're sending your pics of your oof and your off and this and that, like, to me, that's just like, hey, chitty chitty bang bang. Like that's it, right? That's what I would say. So if I'm looking for a relationship, like, and I'm serious about it, I wouldn't be sending pictures of my tats and my coochie to every, like, I wouldn't do that anyway, even if I was just looking for a fun time. Like, it's just, I guess it was just different people, because I have single guy friends and I see what some women do. And I mean, some are raunchy. Chicks can be raunchy as hell.
Oh, I'm sure they can be.
Some can be extremely tacky. Absolutely. And to me, I feel that's just desperation. And, you know, call me a bitch and call me judgmental, but if you've got to go to that extreme, you're desperate or you're really fucking lonely. Like, I just think it's so unclassy, but don't get me wrong. I'm fucking laughing and I'm entertained when I hear about it. So keep on keeping on, I guess.
It's never going to stop. I mean,
No,
it's just
not.
Everyone's going to keep on doing it. Girls are approaching it wrong, clearly. Guys are approaching it wrong. But, you know, there's some weirdo out there for everyone, you know?
I'm just saying, listen, if you want to take a picture of your tits and you want to take a picture of your penis or your cooch, say you're looking for a serious relationship.
Right.
I don't know. Am I wrong, people? Like, I just.
Well, yeah, no, I think, it's definitely.
Sites where you just want a chitty bang, baby. Like, okay, you want to see it? Like, I don't know. It's so weird.
That's something that I totally do agree with, because I'm just such a direct person. And when I see profiles and they all are saying, oh, I'm looking for a relationship, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Then there are some that just say, don't know yet, or just want something casual.
Yeah, like there's options.
There's options. So let's stick to those options.
That's what I don't get. I honestly think people are making these profiles and they're just clicking every single category to get the most exposure. It's like in sales, it's all about numbers game. And I just don't think people give a shit. But I just think it's weird because there are really good people out there who have class, you know, who have children, and some people have children and they don't have class. Sorry, but it's out there. There's a one fit, right? Yeah. But it's like we were talking, and you know, you had recently had like an experience with a guy, and you know, some of these men have daughters, and it's like you so hit like the head of the nail when you're like, you know, how would they feel if their daughters were treated how they were treating women? Yeah. Ghosting or just not giving someone the common courtesy to cancel a plan. Like, it's just like, be human, be normal. But some people are not capable of that, or they don't give a shit. But I just don't think those people should be wasting other people's time. And this is not an attack on men. This goes for men and women. So
goes both ways.
Both sexes can be assholes and just don't give a shit.
You know what though? I find that a lot of, and this is not our situation for our personalities, but I do understand this for people. We are direct people. We are honest people. Like I am a communicator. I have no problem telling you how I feel or whatever it may be. Right. Yeah. And I do understand that can be really uncomfortable for some people, right? It pains them to try and let someone down or whatever, you know?
No, absolutely. And I understand.
So
So I get that. I get that. But I think there's a nicer way to do it. Like, I know when I was dating, if I was not into you, I'd be like, listen, you know what? You're a great person. However, I just don't think we're meshing. It's just, you know what? There's millions, billions of people on this planet, and I just don't see us going in that direction. Some people I went on dates with, I actually became friends with. Like, and we like, it's cool. And some wanted more than that. And I was just like, I can't give you that. But you know what? If you like chatting and you like when I was single, I'm like, listen, if you want to go for a drink, hang out, have our friends hang out, cool. And I did do that. And I actually doing business with one of them. And they're married now and have kids and they're happy and whatever. I don't, you know, I'm not in contact with them anymore really, but it doesn't always have to be the relationship, right? Too. So I just think if, you know what, you can meet people, you can have a great time. It doesn't necessarily have to be your soulmate. But I just don't like what I see out there with people wasting people's time, because time is valuable and time is money. And when you're our age and you're working or you have your own business or you have commitments and family and children, like for example, you can relate to this, like you have kids 50-50, and if you want to make plans and then you have to go through your ex to maybe like, you know, take the kids for a while and someone ghosts or bails, like how, you're not just affecting one person, you're affecting a train of people. So
it's so different that way now, right?
Yeah,
like
so when people are like older, like us with children, right? Like, I'll tell you, if like for me, if I had my own child and I was like a single mom and a guy did that, like, oh, you'd be done. You would be done. Like, don't come back a week, a month, 5 months later. Oh, hey, baby, how you doing? Because all you're telling me is that you weren't really good enough. I was waiting for better and I haven't found better. So now I'm coming back to you. So, you know what? Bada boom, bada bang. And it's like,
bye, bitch.
It's always the same, like, oh, my father was sick. My mother was sick. Oh, Auntie Helen died. Like, it's always the same story. So, you know what? I would tell you, Kathy, ask for the obituary. Honestly, because
you are hardcore.
No, because I get so angry because I have a big heart. And so I have, like, I've got such, and so do you. We have like such a big group of friends and acquaintances, and a lot of them, this is why we're doing the podcast. A lot of people are struggling with dating. A lot of people have been divorced once, twice, thrice, whatever. And some people are widowed like myself. And so they're going through this process. And so I was very, very lucky in my situation as a widow, meeting the person and everything working out. So it's just, it really frustrates me because people go through, at our age, you got, I don't want to say baggage, but you've been through shit.
Yeah.
Like, if you finally come to a point and you're like, okay, I'm ready to trust, or I'm ready to like put myself out there, and then people are just like fucking around with it, it makes me angry. Actually, like,
no, it makes it that much harder to keep.
It does, because
I mean, I have a thick skin and I've got a great support group of like you and my girlfriends and my family and everything, and I'm a confident person, so I could just be like, all right, you know,
which is good.
Trucking. But that's not easy for everybody.
No,
you know?
It's not. Like, I know people who can't even get out of bed because they've connected. They've spent weeks connecting with someone, hours and hours a day, texting, talking, right? And then they meet, and then they maybe like do what they do, and then it's like, you know, and then they're just, it's a horrible feeling. And I just like, I would love to meet like every guy and girl who pisses someone off and fucks them around, because I'd be like, listen, we're gonna sit and you're gonna listen to me, and I'm gonna tell you what you are and how you are, and I'm not gonna shut up until I just like make your ears bleed.
Here's the thing.
Crazy. Don't waste fucking time. I understand that dating is like Amazon right now, and you go and you scroll, and you know, you got your prime cart and your shit cart that comes from China, and it might take like a fucking 3 years for it to be delivered. There's different, I get it. But at the end of the day, time is fucking money, and people have feelings, and don't be a dick. That's my PSA.
But guess what? You are absolutely right in all those emotions, okay? You're right. But the other side of it, and everyone that's listening to this that's dating has to understand.
Yeah.
You are being told how you're going to be treated. It's showing you.
Yes.
You don't like it, you move on. You know, I mean, you have to see it for that. You know, you're being shown something that's not nice, but you're being shown, and you, if you see it and understand it, you move on. You're dodging bullets. You are dodging them. Dodging bullets.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you, I'm not perfect, and I'm not trying to say I'm like the best person and blah, blah, blah. I had a date. One of my first online dates was with this guy, okay? I wasn't really attracted to him. I took my girlfriend. I showed up with my girlfriend. I didn't care.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay.
I didn't expect him to pay for us or anything, but I'm like, he was like, it was my first time. I was scared. I didn't know he was gonna like cut off my head.
Right.
Whatever. But at the end of it, he's like, oh, like, you're really cute. Like, I'd really like to see you again. And I'm like, you know what? You're like a really cool guy. And I'm like, I just don't see it like
that way.
I don't see you in my life. Like, I don't want to be your friend. I definitely don't want to date you. But I'm like, you're like nice guy. Just didn't feel So, you know what I mean? But a lot of people, like you said, they have the fear. It's like, I don't know if it's a fear of letting people down or they just don't give a shit.
Well, it could be both. It's both.
Yeah. Don't waste people's time. If you genuinely don't want a relationship and you really want to take it slow, but slow to you means like, you know, testing out the waters and just like don't really have like a vision in sight of having a long term, then don't say you want a long term, because there are really people are, like I said, people our age are busy, careers, kids, family, friends. There's a lot of shit going on. People have multiple jobs. People have multiple commitments. Like, don't waste time. If you, like, when I met, now I wasn't necessarily didn't know, so maybe call me hypocritical. I didn't know what I was feeling when I went online, but I kind of did it because I had really good support from family at the time, which at that time was very important to me to have that support, because I needed that valid, even though no one can tell me what to do. At that time, I needed that validation. It was okay for me to start dating. And I just happened to meet somebody who had their shit together, was confident, and knew what they wanted. And,
that's good.
I'm with that pain in the ass still to this day. So
there you go. There it is.
But it's because he knew what he wanted, and I obviously checked off his boxes and he checked off mine. So it just worked.
Rub it in. Rub it in, okay? So happy for you. So happy.
Well, no, I'm not sitting here. He ain't putting like rose petals on the bed here and, you know, playing the violin.
I know. But you and many, many millions of people have gotten into great relationships through online dating. And that's where whoever's starting it, if you're feeling frustrated, you just got to keep plugging away.
Yes, I listen. As all the bitching I've just done the past like 10 minutes, you have to do it. This is the way of the world. Yes, we would love, you know, your parents to maybe arrange you with someone. Maybe you want to just meet at a party. It's hard though, because we're older now and most people our age are married or in relationships. And if they're not, they've been fucked over. So there's, you know, they're jaded. It's fucking just the way the world is.
I think one good thing though, with like this is going to come out wrong, but the one thing about online dating and in the COVID situation, people are being far more particular about who they're going to meet.
For sure.
People won't even do that initially for quite some time, and it's just talking. And we were talking about this last year or earlier in the year.
Yeah.
How COVID was changing online dating because people were being forced to communicate so much longer, which, you know, pulls you closer. So that part of it is probably still pretty good. People are talking more. Sort of a dead giveaway though for the ladies out there. This is what I've picked up. When you start talking to someone, as soon as they start getting into conversation and start asking sexual things, that is really your red flag to say they're looking to get laid. It's just that simple.
That talk, because I think it's just human nature, and some people just kind of want to know, like if they want
Sure,
someone
there's some questions,
but you just gotta gauge. You gotta gauge.
But if it's coming up very quickly and it's constant, that's all it comes back to all the time in a conversation over multiple days. That's telling you, yeah, they're looking. And here, girls, if you want to get laid, it's not a problem. Like, go online. if that's all you're looking for,
it's out there.
Easy peasy.
Yep, it's out there.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know what? I think we've covered a lot on this topic. I could just go on and on, because you know what? If I stay on any longer, I'm just going to keep bitching, because you know what? People drive me crazy. They really do. They really do. I love people. I really do. I have a big heart, but some people drive me crazy. Anyway,
but listen, I love that you've helped me, and I love that, you know, you created my crazy profile that has sent me into a busy world of boys and dating and gifts of goats, cars, whatnot. It's there's a lot going on out there, and I'm wildly amused by it, so it's fun. The other thing is, next week we are having our first guest.
Woo!
She's going to be joining us, and this is really cool. And this is for men and women. It is navigating life after divorce.
Love it.
Because we know a lot of times.
She's freezing up.
You add the layers of the financial strain and everything else. Alicia is a longtime friend, and she has started life coach, but she
Sorry, you
definitely
keep freezing up.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, you're like free.
Okay, am I clear now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. No.
Wait, am I still freezing? Is this our Wi-Fi connection? Is it sucking
We
this
better
badly?
just wrap this up, girl, because I think our connection's going. I don't know what's happening.
Okay. Anyway, we have a guest next week. She's a life coach. It's divorce stuff. It's really cool, and we'll talk about it later. Okay?
That's it. Okay, guys. I know. No, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it was great chatting with you, Kat. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on season 2. Episode 1, season 2.
Yep.
And yeah, next week will be a delightful week.
Yes. Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Bye.